What drives you? What inspires you? Let's ignite your why. Welcome back to Ignite Your Why podcast. I'm your host, Austin T. Gullett, and we're here to have genuine conversations with authentic people to help amplify their voice and figure out what ignites their why. Today, we have the honor to speak with Tomas Williams, also known as Wise. You guys may remember him from season 3, episode 2. So if you have not listened to that episode, the link will be in the description below. You should check that out before you listen to this one. So let's just hop straight into this, man. Tomas, how are you doing?
Man, doing good. On this great Sunday morning, just early bird gets the worm. But like I said, doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Hey, I totally blame Xavier for making us record this early, because this is way too early for me. I'm usually at church right now, but
Yeah,
it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
it's cool. It's cool. I usually get up for work like around this time. A little bit later, just depending on like how busy my work day is. But this is kind of typical work day. But on Sundays, I get up probably like 2 hours later than this. But
Saturday and Sunday for me are literally like my chill days. I don't
yeah,
do shit usually. So like yesterday, all I did was watch basketball. Today, like when this episode comes out, like I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that Xavier is still in this tournament.
yeah,
So like if this episode comes out and they're still in the tournament, that means they're in the Final Four. So fingers crossed. I feel like we have a chance, but we'll see.
yeah.
So the
Wow.
last time, no, what were you about to say?
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying March Madness has been pretty wild. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
I
I
just
was so happy Kansas lost, and then someone was like, "Oh, it's because they didn't have their coach," and I was like, "They still lost, like regardless if they had their coach or not." Like, but so the last time we talked was back in June of 2021.
yeah,
Um, at that time, like you were in school studying sports management with a business minor, and you
yeah.
just recently moved to Atlanta. You were 3 weeks in, so like everything was super fresh. So,
Yeah.
just kind of give the people like, what have you been up to? Like, what's been going on over the last year and a half, pretty much?
Yeah, so life has been life. um, I actually dropped out of college. I just decided to take a step back. I was just kind of at that point in my life, I was kind of ready to do something new, ready to kind of explore things outside of school. And I trusted and believed in myself, came here to Atlanta, and then even at that point in time, with my girl. So like I said, I got hired at Square. If you know them, they're a payment processing company. So I work there right now, still working there. Me and my girlfriend going strong. But besides that, I did take a break from my podcast because I wanted to kind of focus on work. I want to focus on my mental things of that nature. But recently started my podcast back up. Also with the sports podcast I run, it's me, my cousin, and one of our friends. Shout out to E. So now I'm just now getting into creating some content also on TikTok as well. So been kind of
I
where lately.
no, I completely understand like taking a break. Um, when I took my like podcast hiatus, I was not expecting it to be the 7th month hiatus that I did
Right.
take, but it was well needed. So
Yeah.
I remember like I re-listened to our conversation because I knew coming into this I couldn't just go in blind because I
Yeah.
can't remember shit from literally yesterday. So how could I remember a conversation from a year and a half ago?
Right.
But I remember when you first moved to Atlanta, like you were fresh in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
So
Like.
like you were still trying to figure shit out. Like I'm pretty sure you didn't have like all your furniture yet. Like it was
Yeah.
just it was very new. So like obviously over that time frame, like you've had time to like settle in. And it was really like your first time being away from home.
Hmm.
So could you kind of like give us more insight on like what that transition period was for you and how you've really honed in and found out like who you are now.
Yeah. Really. I learned a lot about myself. Even you mentioned earlier that when you took a break, you didn't think like your hiatus. You didn't think it would be that long. Same thing with me. So I moved to Atlanta. I'm trusting in myself. Most importantly, everything is fresh. Came from, like I said, Troy, Alabama, Troy University, and literally it's like nothing to do there. Like nothing. Like the only thing to do is like go on a party on a Thursday for college students, and then it's like homework and work. So it's really nothing to do. Even can't really you can go out to eat, but very few select options. So I get here to Atlanta, and everything is so new. I mean, Atlanta is like huge. It's a lot of people. It's a melting pot. You meet people from all different like ideas, races, and everything. So everything was kind of like a culture shock when you come from like Alabama to like Atlanta. It's just different. So it was just getting used to just being around different people that are very much different from me, and even meeting people who were similar to me as far as in personality and things. So started to gain friends, started to just explore places and have fun. And I was telling my girlfriend recently, I was like, I realize like I'm an introvert, but somewhat a little bit of an extrovert now, which is weird. Like I like going out, and when I say going out, like going out to like trying new restaurants,
Hmm.
museums, places. So being able to have that ability to do that because I didn't have that type of opportunity when I was in Troy and even so Auburn because it was still like kind of fresh compared to now where it's like a lot of stuff to do in Auburn. So just exploring different things and upon that just like learning who I am has been a very important thing. Learning that I am a grinder. I like to just like keep myself busy. I like to work. So I began, perfecting my craft at work. That's earned me a few quarterly, top performer awards just throughout the company. So just honing in on things I love to do. Like I said, I love to work and I love to create content. So just knowing that my ceiling is very high, I think that's been the most important thing I've learned just being here in Atlanta because you get surrounded by people who like to create content or just creative people. So
Hey, living in a city is something very different. Like I tell people all the time, like when I
yeah.
like meet people who like come from like a very country, like small town, I'm just like, I couldn't
Hmm.
do it. I could not do it. I have lived at like near Cincinnati my entire life. So like
Hmm.
literally Cincinnati is 5 minutes from my house. So I just hop on the highway and I'm in Ohio. So it's just kind of it's just different for me. So like I can definitely see like and I think I can see the growth from like when we first had our conversation to like
Yeah.
almost 2 years ago, I feel like to like where you are now. You're a
Hmm.
completely different person. And I think that's just like the beauty of life is like we're constantly evolving, we're constantly
Right.
growing, and it's just a beautiful thing in reality. Atlanta is a huge city, so like I feel like it would
Very.
kind of be intimidating to people at first because
Was.
especially when you come from where you came from. Like you said, you came
Hmm.
from basically nothing, where all you could do was go out on a Thursday or go out to eat. Hey, I'm telling you, Thirsty Thursdays in college, they were fun.
Yeah. It was always, if you come before 10, you're free with an ID. And it was like we would we'll go and get our like wristband or whatever and like leave and we'll like pregame and then come back and then just walk right in after 10. So I mean, it was like I said, it was small enough where that could you could do that. Of course, you couldn't do that here in Atlanta, but yeah, man, those were the days. But like I said, even at that, you start to get older and you start to
Hmm.
do new things. And even with that being said, I ended up going to Jamaica, um, somewhat after my birthday, towards September for my girlfriend's birthday. So just exploring a lot of like different things that I would have never had the chance to do at Troy. It's like I said, it's a great thing. I actually are. I'm more. I don't want to say content, but I'm more like happy of being around this type of atmosphere compared to where I was.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I
Yeah.
think it's amazing that you're getting these opportunities to grow and explore the world because Hell, I'm jealous. Like I've never been out of the country, so
It's
wish
worth it.
that's it's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list. I will get there eventually. So there is one thing that I kind of want to like talk about a little bit because like we mentioned it. So like you were in school and ultimately you decided that you no longer wanted to go
Mhm.
to school anymore. So like what made you come to that like decision? But I know like when we've talked in the past, like you were always afraid of kind of like what your family would think. So how did you overcome that like kind of barrier and be like, I'm doing this for myself and that's all that really matters?
Yeah, like I said, it was ultimately down to my senior seminar I had. Like I said, it was me and a few other individuals, and that whole process of doing that project, I realized that because I've always been that student who's like been supporting, like been in that kind of like supporting role. And so with that project, I had to like take on this leadership type of role. And so when I realized like throughout the effort I put into it, despite we didn't make it to the end as a group, I realized like you have potential to do some great things like by yourself or just like outside of here. So it was kind of like you kind of tap into your potential early, and you just have to recognize it. So when I came here, I always told my friends and tell them like I can do it here. Like I think I have the like fortitude, and I just think college was limiting me as far as in like showing my full potential, because in sports management it's really about who you know, and I'm more so like I mean you I'm not just going to be in someone's face needing to get like the one up or to
Mhm.
do something of that nature. Like just notice my hard work. That's all I really wanted for myself, honestly. So that's when it became more about me. Like I know I can like outwork, anyone, and that's not throw the shade at anyone, but I just have confidence in myself. So got here, got to work, began moving to different departments, getting promoted, and I was like, this is like I was getting that
Mhm.
affirmation from work and from my lead slash supervisors of like, hey, you're doing a great job. You're providing great service. So it was like, now this is what I wanted the whole time. Because once I was getting those affirmations and confirmations of what I was doing, I'm like, okay, let's take it up to the next level. So begin just getting those things under my belt, and next thing you know, it's like everything is starting to become natural, because I feel like either you have that grit and that grind or you don't. So I just realized I always had it in me. So that's what like, yeah, it kind of confirmed for me like you made the right choice by leaving. And even my family back at home, they're like, well, you apparently knew what you were talking about. I mean, they were supportive, and they was like, we understand and you want to get your life like moving forward instead of spending like 7, 8 years in college and doing things like, because I was being graded on like everyone's effort and just not solely my own.
Mhm.
And I didn't think that was fair. So I was like, well, I guess you were right. So, like I said, it was just realizing my potential. And once I didn't focus on competing with anyone. I was just focusing on getting better each and every day. So that's what actually calmed me down a lot and made me kind of just like plant and just set my feet here in Atlanta.
I think that's just crazy because like now I'm thinking about like my whole college experience. I
Mm-hmm.
hated, hated group projects.
Hate it. Yeah.
Like they were awful because I like don't like how I have to rely on a complete fucking stranger to do
Right.
work.
Yeah.
Like I remember vividly one class I had, like we had a basketball player in our group. I was like, of course. No offense like to any basketball players out there, but he didn't do shit. He didn't do anything. And like
Yeah.
what I thought was funny is like he actually like copied my like review because like at the end like we had to like review and rate each of our like partners
And that
and
never
like
to me meant anything. We had that same process. It
but
never.
I gave him a bad review and he just copied it like word for word. And I was just like, I was like, okay, man, whatever whatever floats your boat, whatever, if that makes you easy. And, but the thing that really stuck out to me in that whole thing was just like, in sports management, it is about who you know, it's about getting the in and just kind of like networking. And I think that's what's so hard about working in sports is you have to basically start from the bottom and work your way up.
Yeah.
and like working your way up can literally take forever.
Exactly.
Honestly, because I remember I worked at FC Cincinnati for 3 years, right?
Hmm.
The only way I was moving up in that organization was if I like switched departments, which I wasn't like too like fond of because like I loved like what I was doing.
Yeah.
But the only way I would move up is if like people above me stepped down,
See, yeah, that
right? So it was like, okay, like I can stay here and continue to do this and hope and pray that like you can either
so.
add a position or someone leaves. But like that's kind of pointless for me. And then I eventually left, but then
Hmm.
like literally like 6 months later after I left, like someone above me left. And I was like, well, this is kind
Mm,
of but then I was like, God has a plan for everything. So
right.
everything falls into place. And I'm gonna apologize to people now. I keep touching my AirPods because I'm not used to wearing them. So like I just keep like grabbing and touching. Um but it's just wild to me, and I think, like, you were right, like, you've been literally flourishing in life, and I see, like, your accomplishments on social media, and just
Yeah.
having this conversation, I can tell that you're well put together. Because if you
No,
go
yeah.
back, I don't know if you've went back and listened to
I
our
have not.
episode, but if you go back and, like, I can just kinda see the growth in both of us, just, like, from,
Yeah.
like a confidence standpoint and just a talking standpoint, because I feel like before
I was
we
kind
were
of
both
like, you
uh,
know,
yeah,
yeah,
so, like,
kind of. I'm
it's
just trying to be
crazy to
successful.
me.
And it's like, no, I'm successful, and I'm going to go further now. It's like two different like me's that kind of have occurred. Yeah.
It's like your confidence is, like, up here now,
Yeah.
and it's just mind-blowing to me because I look back at that time. I'm pretty sure, like, I might have said season 3 in the intro, but I'm pretty sure you were on season 2, episode 3.
Yeah.
But it just blows my mind because I was so new to it, like, at that point, because I was like, I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just recording and having conversations, and just the growth is literally wild. So now that I'm on the topic of that episode, it really brings me up into like my next question for you. So I went back while I was listening to this, I was taking my notes, doing my homework, you know.
Yeah.
I have a question that I say, like, what inspires you, but more importantly, what is it that ignites your why? And when I
Yeah.
asked you this question, your response was that you wanted to start living for yourself, right? You were
Right.
tired of living for other people, but like
Mhm.
the way like were doing that was through your poetry, right? And
Yeah.
poetry was like your escape. It was your safe haven, and it was your way of helping people because you
Mhm.
felt that through your writing, people can relate to you and understand you. And you never know, like just by sharing your thoughts and your words, who you can touch.
Yeah.
I personally know things have changed for you. So I'm going to ask the question again, right? Because I feel like the answer is going to be different.
Yeah.
So, what is it that inspires you? But more importantly, what is it now that ignites your why?
Yeah, what ignites my why is creating a better life for myself. First, I had to live for myself, and even through my poetry, it was like an escape, which I don't do anymore. I didn't mention that, but I don't do it anymore, and that was because when I was writing, like I wasn't. It's crazy to think because people don't realize like poets or writers sometimes are writing from like deep and like dark places or just like
Mhm.
in you were in like a kind of like a sad like mind state. So I was writing like just kind of expressing my feelings, but once I like came here and even over the course of being here, I was more happy. Well, I was happier, and I wasn't sad anymore. So it was like the content just wouldn't be authentic. I would be trying to kind of what they would say like fake the funk as far as in trying to write for others.
Mhm.
So that was part of my kind of escaping and just, everything of that nature. So as far as in what ignites my why, like I said, I'm getting older. I'll be 28 this year. So you start to kind of think like, hey, you need to start to settle down, create a game plan, just not for the week. We're talking about months ahead, years ahead. And so I just want to be the best version of myself. And like I said, I mean, I'm continuing to live for myself, but it's more so what like I'm making sure like I've done everything possible before my time on earth is done. So just making sure I do any and everything and I put my 110% into anything I do. So like I said, just wanting to start a family, explore the world more. I'm going to Greece earlier this year. I mean later this year, excuse me. So it's like expanding my palette beyond, places. So when I do look back at it at the end of the, end of my times, it's like, look, I did it all. Like I put my 110% effort into it. I
Hmm.
accomplished this, that, and the third. So it's just making sure I've done everything that I've, set my mind to or I'm currently interested in. So just reaching my like highest level of not just success but just of living life outside of what I do outside of work, outside my podcasting and creating content. Just knowing that I was happy doing it and I was content with it, despite who had any type of negative comments, reviews about it. So just kind of living my life now, like carefree and just putting in the work.
Hey, live your best life, man. I think that's what it really comes down to is sometimes I feel like we get so caught in the moment that
Right.
sometimes we forget to live for ourselves. So it's not that like now that I hear your answer, it's not that your answer has like changed fully. Like it's still the same in a
Yeah.
sense because before like you wanted to live for yourself and like now that you're ac- I wouldn't say accomplished because like you still have like a long life to live, but like you're accomplishing it. So it's like
Right.
you're in that process and you're really still figuring it out. And like you said, like we're getting older. I'm a year behind you. I'm going to be 27. So it's
Yeah.
like your whole mindset kind of change and it goes from all right, like what can we do this weekend, what bars can we go to, or x y and
Yeah.
z, to
Definitely.
okay, like how can I save my money because I'm tired of being broke and just different things of that nature. So it's very interesting to see, and like I knew you didn't do poetry but I didn't want to be the person to kind of
Yeah.
say that because it's your story, it's your platform. And I always, and it does make sense to me because when I was younger, I would write poetry myself, and it was my way of expressing my feelings and just different things of that nature. And when
Yeah.
you're not in that dark place anymore, you're healing. So like you're healing that wound, and you're
Yeah.
growing as an individual. So it makes sense. Obviously, like there could be people upset that you're not writing anymore, but it's not about pleasing other people anymore. It's about doing what's
Right.
good for me. And you said that in your previous episode. It's like you got tired of appeasing other people because that's what you
Yeah.
kind of always did, was you're a people pleaser. I'm the same way. And I think it's just like who we are as individuals.
Yeah.
It's how we were raised. We were raised to be kind and just to treat others how we want to be treated. But
Hmm.
sometimes we can get lost in the sauce of making people happy that we forget, oh, I'm a person and I matter too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because I
that's kind
get
of how I look
people.
at it.
Yeah, I get people who every now and again will ask like, "Will you begin writing poetry again?" I'm like, currently, right, not right now. It's just and I keep my poetry on my page because maybe it some people do go
Hmm.
back and like certain things or what have you. So I keep it there. I did think about deleting it, but I'm like that was like that is still a part of me. And I've written actually like, and I just haven't posted it, but I've written a few things like just throughout my time of not posting anything as far as in poetry related. But like I said, it's just I don't know. I went to therapy as well, so it was more so how I can express my feelings without doing it in through like various outlets, as far as in like
Hmm.
drinking things of that nature. So I began like learning how to express my feelings and coping with my feelings instead of it just having to be simply like just pen and paper. And so that was part of that hiatus of me taking like how can I do this like in more ways than one. So been able to express like just my feelings as vividly or my thoughts and just conveying those thoughts in a positive manner. So that's what I think also kind of was like the ultimate shift. So once I did that, like I didn't have a need to
Hmm.
express like my feelings or thoughts or what someone is going through or what I'm going through my poetry. Um, so I think that was like a big kind of like Kickstarter of like I saw like I would say for me the decline as far as in what I was writing in the very beginning was great compared to now. To me, it's like kind of like average. So
Yeah.
like it's all about just growing up in the maturation process of getting older and realize it's more ways to live life instead of this kind of coping internally without speaking about it.
Hey, trust me, I completely understand. I think that's like one thing I've been working on with myself as well is just
Yeah.
not holding everything in. Especially
Mhm.
just like as a man, we're kind of taught to be strong, and different things of that nature. And I feel like expressing yourself isn't a sign of weakness; it's a sign of strength.
Yeah.
So since we're on the topic of kind of like mental health and stuff like that, I do always want to have this segment in here. So I gotta ask you, we kind of touched on it a little bit,
Yeah.
but you did mention like you started to go to therapy and different things like that. But what are those things that are you doing to take care of yourself mentally?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend, talk, quite, I mean, we live together, but I mean, as far as in having those conversations, we do like, kind of like daily check-ins or just like kind of every other day. Like if we don't
Hmm.
notice like someone's like their mood is off or something, we like won't say anything about it, but just speaking with her and just like if I have like an issue with someone, I just like speak on it immediately instead of like holding it in, because if I hold it in it just kind of festers inside of you, and then that's when it gets to the point it can be like toxic. So just speaking out loud of just how I feel and not worrying about like, oh, I'm going to offend so and so, or I don't want to like someone to interpret what I said in the wrong type of fashion. So
Hmm.
just saying how I feel openly and honestly, and if someone truly knows you and knows your heart, they'll know that you have no like ill will or bad intentions when you do speak on how you feel, but also being a responsible adult to convey those messages, and not just being completely blunt about it, because you mean sometimes you do have to kind of curate your tone or your words in order to match your true feelings. So just being able to just openly say things that can be with my family, like I said, my girlfriend, I guess even when my dog makes me mad, I have to convey to him like, look, instead of like, just what are you doing? Just like, hey, let's talk. Let's come on. Let's huddle up. Let's talk about this. Why did you take the stuffing out of your toy? But I mean, it's
Bro, my
exactly.
dog does that shit all the time. Like she cannot keep a toy. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like that
I
I don't
understand.
understand. Why do dogs do that? Why do dogs
And my dog, he will
just
try to eat it. So it's like we have to buy him
Mhm.
another toy. But now we get toys where it just has like this like crunchy or crinkly like aluminum foil type of noise. So he really like doesn't try to like, he knows it's stuffing, but he just tries to like hear the noise now. It's not like he's trying to tear it open as if like it's like a squeaky
I'm
button
telling you.
inside.
My dog she is freaking crazy. Like the squeakers, she'll take them out and eat them. And like I'll try to like pry it out of her mouth and she'll like growl and like yell at me and I'm just like,
Yeah,
girl, like
he just
I'm
likes
just trying to
to
save you.
that he likes to bust the little noise thing. Like once he'll bust it and then he's like, okay, I'm done with it. And it's
No,
like
my
that's
dog will literally eat them. And like there will be pieces of plastic all throughout the apartment because she just tears it up. And I'm just like, I don't want to buy you toys anymore. Like
yeah, no,
so
literally.
I just give her a bone and it keeps her busy. So
Yeah, we give him rubber toys now. So like, he has
mm,
quite a few. It's his mother in law gave him like like Christmas lights. It's kind of like a
yeah.
school toy where it's just like rubbery. So he just like, it's big enough where he can like fit it in his mouth, but it's kind of like firm, so he can't really like tear it open. So he just kind of gnaws on it and just. He's one of those like he likes to play fetch a lot. So more so than chewing on it, he'll bring it to you and drop it or throw it in your face and be like, "Oh, he loves socks." So he'll throw that
Let
in your
me
face.
just want to trade like behaviors because my dog will literally eat anything. Like she will eat a plastic toy. Like she will chew it up and like tear it apart and just like I just I don't know
Yeah,
what
my
to do
dog,
with
he
her.
only eats things out of frustration. So when we leave, or like sometimes we'll go into work, me and my girlfriend going to work into the office, he has to go in the cage because he's the type of dog where he's very smart. So he eats things that like specific things. Like if he
Hmm.
sees us throw a bone in the trash can, he'll wait, and if we make him mad or like leave him out or leave the house, he's gonna go into the trash can and eat the bone, but only the bone, but tear everything else up, but not eat it. So he does things intentionally, or he's like what he did one time, and then we can move on. My girlfriend did something like left him in the house, and so he sees her on her iPad all the time. So what he did, he ate the case, only the case. That was it. And then came and we right by the case when she came back, and when we came back, and I'm like, told you, she, she was upset.
It's like how is your dog just like so smart that he knows like this will piss them off?
It's hilarious, but it's like maddening.
That's actually kind of funny. No, but I kind of do. There's one more thing that I want to talk about before we kind of start wrapping things up here.
Yeah,
We've talked about like your podcast. You actually have two of them. For
yeah.
the people who aren't familiar with your content, do you mind just giving us a little bit of insight on what those podcasts are? What do they talk about, and when do they come out, and how can people find them?
Yeah, so the first one, I'm the host, and I host several have I co-host with several other individuals as we continue to progress through the season. But it's Wise Mic'd Up, Wise WISE apostrophe D and up. Talking about relationships, life, talking about the work, your work, personal life, like that type of balance, but like more so relationships, mental health, your personal health, things of that nature. So we just kind of get deep into the things of maybe certain stigmas that we've currently attached and we live throughout in this generation, relationship type of advice. Now, not to say I'm a guru or anything. I don't want to convey that message, but it's just open and honest conversations of questions or topics that are had, and even to the point of how things have changed compared to when we were younger compared to now.
Hmm.
And then also have the sports podcast. It is Warning, No Apologies. It's just our open and honest opinions, mainly centered around the NFL, just football, period, and then also basketball. We also recently are introducing bonus episodes, like I said, of course, free of charge, about prop bets that we place throughout the week. People we like, don't like. So it's if you're like that sports type of person, please check that out. I'm on Instagram, Wise Mic'd Up, and then also on the sports one as well. Warning, No Apologies. Also have a TikTok as well, but you can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and then other platforms I've made that available on, like such as like Google Podcasts and things of that nature. So you can more than welcome go on there. Also, we do have the link. We have a link tree with both accounts, Wise Mic'd Up and Warning No Apologies. You can click that, choose how you want to listen to each and one of our episodes. Because I do with the sports episode, it's with my cousin Denzel, and then also with one of our other friends, Evan. So, and he's known as E. So, like I said, it's the three of us. We do that weekly, record on Sundays, and then my podcast they get released throughout the week. So, both of
Hey, you guys got to check them out. I listen every week. Um, I we have sports betting in Ohio,
them.
but I hate. I live in Kentucky, so like I literally have to drive across the river to place a bet. So if I don't do it like Monday through Friday, like when I'm at work, it's not happening because I'm not gonna take my time to, even
Yeah,
though it's like literally 5 minutes away. I'm not driving because if I don't win this bet, I'm gonna be pissed.
yeah, it's a work to place bets.
Literally, like there's people like there's like I'm in a group chat of like
Mm,
people who like do bets and they all live in Ohio, and I'm just like, I'm not going across the river to place a bet. And then when I'm at work, I don't really be thinking like, oh, like I should place a bet because I'm working.
Yeah.
So my mind is it's like, oh, like I need to do X, Y, and Z for work. I need to do this, this, and that. And then by the time I get home, I think of it and I'm like, well, at this point, it's kind of just
Yeah,
it's too late. No,
yeah.
but I really do appreciate you just taking the time out of your morning. I know you were up late last night recording your podcast, so appreciate you getting up this early because it's hella early for me. Um,
Problem, no problem. Like I said, I'm a grinder. If it's any like something that's a work, like it is what it is. I mean, I can get rest later, so no big deal.
no, I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you hopping back on. I was like, I have to get Tomas back on and him be
Yeah,
the first person because it's just been so long and I feel like I've seen your
yeah,
growth and it's just been fun and I hopefully people have enjoyed catching up on your story and just really
most,
just listen, you know?
yeah,
So if anyone wants to continue to have a conversation with you about anything that we might have talked about today, what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you?
yeah. You can DM me on either account, wise mic'd up or warning no apologies, or you can follow my main Instagram underscore wise to the T. That's TEE. So you can underscore wise to the T, and you can follow. That's my personal social media, by the way. So if you can follow me on there, and if you want to be a guest or a co-host or anything of that nature, or just interested on talking about sports or whatever it is, you can reach me out on there, and I'm pretty sure I'll be quick to respond. If I'm not busy at work, so
Well, thank you. Thank you again. I'm going to put all of Wise's information in the description below. If you guys happen to reach out to him, make sure you give him a follow, let him know where you found him, whatever you may be. Just don't be some stranger and just hit him up randomly. Even though he probably would answer,
I
just at
would.
least let him know where you found him.
Unless it's like something like creepy or weird, I'm gonna probably like block you. But yeah, if you just want to have a conversation, I'm like I say, I'm cool.
Hey, I'm quick with that block button. I'll be like,
No, no,
nah, again, thank you all for listening in. Make sure you follow us on social media. We are at Ignite Your Why on all social media platforms. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. So make sure you follow, like, subscribe, whatever it may be. So thank you all for tuning in. And always remember, find your purpose and ignite your why. Peace.
peace.